It's been a busy week travelling up the Queensland coast. I started out trying to make some fairy friends.
You think I got food, do you?
This one blew me a kiss, but that's about as far as we got. These are agile wallabies. They're like the most common wallaby that you get all across northern Australia. They're called agile because, wait for it, they're agile. This one's actually chewing his cud. They actually chew their cud a little bit like a cow. So they go and eat grass somewhere else, and then they pretty much hoik it back up again. So this guy's thinking about hoiking something right now. He's like, oh, yeah, it's definitely time to hoik something. Oh, there we go. Oh, still coming. Still working on it. Oh, come on, mate, get it out. Get it out. Oh, come on, get it out. Oh, got it. There we go. There's the little green bit of cud that he's chewing there. Num, 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 num. Tastes pretty good. So it's pretty common to see them scratching themselves. It's usually because they got ticks. I must admit, I tend to scratch myself when I've got ticks. This guy's scratching his ear and sniffing it, probably to see if he's got ear infection. It's also common to see them scratching their balls too. It's usually because they've got, wait for it, itchy balls. I must admit, I tend to give mine a scratch. Let's just leave it there, you get the picture. Young males play fight a lot. They love it so much that they only stop when they need to scratch themselves or their balls. They get pretty tricky with their fighting techniques. That's a roundhouse going on there. There's another roundhouse. That's like pretty much a double roundhouse. They get a little titchy with each other as well. Bit of three-way fighting going on. And that's probably enough marsupial violence for one day. Let's go for a walk. I'm going to lots of beautiful places, and I try to avoid naming them too much because it helps keep them remote and beautiful. If you're super keen, it wouldn't be rocket science to figure out where some of these shots are taken. But the point is, there's some really nice places left that need a lot of looking after, and in many cases they're not looked after very well. I find that places are looked after best when they're managed by Aboriginal people, because they care more than anybody else about the state of the landscape, and they're also the most skilled at looking after it. The odd place that has been added back to Aboriginal people to look after are looking really, really healthy. They're still hindered a bit by the fact that they're not allowed to do traditional burning, and that basically means that they're just hindered in putting the country back to the way it used to look. So it should look like a lot less trees with a lot more native grasses underneath, and that then promotes plants and animals, birds going back to the way they evolved over the last 60,000 years. So you could see more animals, there'd be less of that scrubby undergrowth, so the animals and the people can move around a lot more freely. And you don't see the horrendous bushfires that happen when Westerners manage fire the way we do. I'm sure you'd like to see a shot of exactly what I'm talking about, but the problem is you can't take any because there's none left like that, because Aboriginal people haven't been able to manage the land for hundreds of years. We can only go off what they tell us and what the first explorers wrote down and how they described it as being totally different to how it is now. It's a little shark. This is fraught with danger because I don't have pliers on me. There's a mud crab under here. He's hard to spot. It's just on the tip of my spear there. This one's just a bit too small and he'll have to go back. Soldier crabs. And you can cook these up and they taste pretty good. There's sort of like a scallop on the inside. So a gas cooktop is absolutely rubbish for cooking seafood like this, but you can't have campfires over here on these islands because national parks regulations. Anyway, so I'm just going to bung this one straight on. It's not really going to distribute the heat evenly. It's probably going to put horrible stuff all over my stove. Oh yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming out there. Oh yeah, look at that. Now really, the only bit you eat is this little central bit here, the scallopy looking bit. Isn't that an amazing shell? You're actually better off breaking the shell a certain way beforehand and just keeping the scallop, but it just seemed like a crime to break that shell. So the moon's up now and it's almost like daylight. You can see colours, it's just amazing. Anyway, I'm off to the next place. I'm just driving on this dirt road and there's two brolgas over there and one of them was dancing to start with. They're a little bit distracted by me now, but they're still giving a bit of a display. Come on mate, off you go. So this is how you anchor a boat on a beach. So you want a bow anchor a long way out, probably it's about 30 metres out, and it's a sandy bottom, so I put a sand anchor on it. And then at the back here, I've got a stern anchor. Once again, it's a sand anchor because it's sandy. And you've got to pull the two really tight. And that way, as the boat gets tousled around by the waves, it stays pointing out into the waves. If you have it too slack, it'll go side on, and that's when your boat gets smashed by the waves. So I'm further north up the coast, and this lighthouse keeper has kindly given me permission to come up and grab some water from the lighthouse and check it out. The sun's sort of setting over there. I've had a bit of a frustrating day, came close to getting a few fish with a hand spear, bounced off, came very close to getting a lobster, just missed him. These things pterodactyls or what? Yeah, they're pterodactyls. It rained again last night. It's probably time for a new camp chair. This one's looking pretty sad. That thing's busted off. That busted, and the legs are bent, and the stitching is going. It's just one of those light, simple ones which, I don't know, it's just better than a big fancy one. I think a couple more days and it'll probably collapse on me. I don't like throwing things out until they've got no life left in them. And I reckon with this one I can sort of feel good that it's had a full life. After 3 weeks straight of camping, I was very generously given the run of a moored catamaran for a couple of days. Thanks very much, Pete and Libby. Yes, shower. Then local filmmaking legends George and Penn hooked me up with a whole bunch of adventuring and filmmaking contacts. More than I can poke a stick at, and I just got so much information over a period of about 3 days. And whilst there I did a quick urban bush tucker walk. I turned up one of my favourite trees, the Currajong. It's got these awesome seed pods on it. Cockroaches are optional. So you don't need oil for this, you can just bung it straight into the pan. So they'll just smoke away like that. You don't even have to cook them, but it just is nicer if you do. All those hairs are gone now. I'll take these off now, let them cool. They smell very nice, they smell like popcorn that's just coming out of the microwave. And they taste exactly like that too, but there's a more nutritious sort of feel behind it. The real experts when it comes to bush tucker are Aboriginal people, so I was very lucky to catch up with Elder Russell Butler, known as Rusty, when I passed through Townsville.
And this one here is medicine for ringworm and rashes.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah? How do you prepare that?
If you had, say, because I used to do this when I was a kid in school. If you had ringworm, and we get this and prepare it, we crush it till that green juice comes out. There, see the green juice in there? That's the medicine.
Yeah, cool.
Then we get this, get a coarse one, and then we scratch the rash and make it bleed.
Yep. Oh, make it bleed, yeah.
Make it bleed with the sandpaper, sting.
Yeah.
And then you got to get that green juice and then you push it into where you made it bleed. and it kills the parasite under your skin.
Right.
So what we used to have to do is self-medicate when we were at school. This tree here is that canoe tree.
This one?
Yeah.
The Muri, you said?
Muri tree.
Muri.
M-U-R-I.
Right, okay. Yeah, beauty.
That's our Aboriginal name for it. And then you got this one.
Beach hibiscus.
Yeah. We make string and rope and all sorts of things out of that. Good fire drill.
Which is your favourite fire drill?
Grass tree.
Yeah, me too.
Grass tree is so simple, and all these other ones you've got to wait till they're dry. But you go out and find a big grass tree plantation, and in there's a lot of dead ones, you know, the half dead ones. I like the half dead ones. You got to really know what you're doing when you're drilling with that, because of course the grains of the timber might rip that stick apart. But if you got a real good solid piece of grass tree, man, you can go hard. Before I was old enough to go to school, I would walk about, and I still go hunting, spear fishing. We'll have to do that when you come back.
Yeah, I'd love
I'll
to.
show you how we drill them big mullet, you know, like mullet about
Oh, I'd
that
love
big.
to.
This is Cane Country. So I'm just hanging out in this little town for a couple of days while I put this episode together, and then I'm off tomorrow on another adventure. So if you're enjoying these, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks.